here we are going to solve some of challenging linear equation graph together. But before we start, let's talk about what we learned the previous 2 lessons. So first of all, what was the standard form of the linear equation? That was y equals mx plus c. Then m is indicating the gradient. So what is the gradient? Can you remember things that relating to the gradient? So gradient is the stiffness of the slope of the graph. Then when you have a positive gradient, your x is getting bigger, y is getting bigger. And when you have a negative gradient, your x is getting bigger, but y is getting smaller. What else do you know about the gradient? When the graph has got same gradient, then the graphs are parallel to each other. Last thing, you know what is the formula for the gradient. So when you find the gradient, you need to find the changes in y-axis divided by changes in x-axis. So using the gradient, you can draw the graph, and when you see the graph, you can find out the gradient. Then another thing is, we learned about the y-intercept. What is the y-intercept? Where the y-axis and the graph meet together, right? That's called the y-intercept. Then it's always have a 0, and y-intercept. Finally, when you draw the graph using the linear equation, always identify your gradient, then y-intercept, and it begins with your y-intercept, then use the formula for the gradient, how many space you move to the right, how many space you move to the up. Okay, this is what we did so far. Then let's solve the questions using all of this information. First question, on the grid, draw the graph of y equal half x plus 5 value from the x minus 2 to 4. So luckily we have a standard form, so we can quickly identify our gradient and y-intercept. So you know the gradient is the number in front of the x, that's the half. The y-intercept is plus 5. Then let's begin with our y-intercept. So 0,5 is where the graph goes through. Then y-intercept is a half. That means, so remember the formula. When you move to right, then you move 1 up, then we can draw a new point, then join them together. That gives you a y equal half x plus 5 graph. But here, the question asks you to find that from minus 2 to 4. So let's see, when your x is minus 2, then you simply put the minus 2 inside the x, then you can get 4. Then, since your x is 4, that means your y is 7. Then we've got an extra point to join together. Then let's connect them all together. And this is the graph of y equal half x plus 5. Right, so next question. The line L1 has equation. Then find the gradient. Oh, when you see the equation, this is not a standard form, right? So first thing we need to do is change these into the standard form. So 3x plus y, 5y minus 2. So remember, standard form is y equal mx plus c. So leave 5y to the left side and move all your terms to the right. 5y is turned to the minus 3x. Minus 2 becomes 2. Then we only want to have a y. So let's divide by 5 all the terms. So divide by 5. Then minus 3 divided by 5 is a minus 3/5 x. And then you've got 2/5. This is our standard form. Then now simply we can find out our gradient. That is great. That is the minus 3/5 is our gradient. Be careful with your sign, negative sign. Is the line L is shown on the grid. Find the equation. This one is looking at the line graph and then figured out the equations. How shall we do this? So first of all, always we write down our standard form, that is y equal mx plus c. Then when you draw the graph, we always focus on the y-intercept, right? Because we already begins with the y-intercept. Then we figured out y-intercept, that is the graph and intersect the graph and the y-axis, that is a 6. So we figured out that y-intercept is a 6. Then let's deal with our gradient. You remember the formula for the gradient. Gradient is the change in y, how much you move alongside with y, and how divided by how much you move alongside with the x. So let's find the 1 point. So let's find the integers. So 2. Then let's see. You can choose any point. So I'm going to choose 1 right and 1, 2, 3 up. So see, this is our gradient. So that gives it 3. Then finally our equation for the line L is y equals 3x plus 6. Then here we've got a graph, then volume of liquid, and then time. Then we need to focus on our final goal is finding the gradient of the graph, okay? So you've got a x and y, but our goal is finding the gradient. Let's try to choose the 2 points. That obvious point is 10. Try to find the integer. That is simple, right? Then check how many space you move to the right. So 4 space to the right, and then this time be careful because your y-axis is jumping 2's. So you counting 2's is 6 space up. So changes in y is 6, changes in y, x is 4. So simplified is 3 half. That's 1.5 is your gradient. And this one, graph shows a straight line L. So you've got another line L2 is a parallel to the line L. Then you've got another clue, it's parallel, and then it passes through the point 0.5. So you need to find the final goal is finding the equation of L2. So you can get a clue from the L1. So L1, let's write down the equation of the L1. So have a look at it. So that is y-intercept is, we don't know the gradient yet, but we know that y-intercept. Y-intercept is really useful because you can directly see and find, right? So then let's calculate our gradient. You 2 to the right, 1 up. So your gradient is a half. Then what did you notice from the question? This is the equation for L1. Then key information, parallel to the straight line L. Parallel means we learned about it, right? When the gradient is the same, then the lines are parallel to each other. That's very important. Then we know that L2 is the same gradient with the L1. So we know that it's half is the gradient. So half x. Then all we need to do is finding our y-intercept. So we don't know the y-intercept, but luckily we've got another point that goes through the line, right? So let's see, the line goes through 0 -5. That means when your x is 0, your y is -5. So your y-intercept is -5. So actually the point that given is a y-intercept. So your graph is half x -5. Right, so here are the 4 straight line graphs, and then we've got equations, some of them have a standard form, some of them doesn't have a standard form, then what we need to do is we need to find out the two parallel lines. That means we need to compare our gradient. Good job. So let's write down our standard form. Then A has got standard form. Let's see. B is a 2y equal x plus 4. Let's change this into the standard form. Then all we need to do is divide by 2. So y equals half x divided by 2 is a 2. So this is the standard form. Let's write it down. So y equals half x plus 2. Then line C is 2x plus 2y equals 4. Then change this into the standard form. So leave 2y and move all the terms to the left side. So 2y equals minus 2x plus 4. Then since we only want to have a y, let's divide by 2, remove the 2. So y equals minus 2 divided by 2 is minus 1x plus 2. So our standard form is y equal minus x plus 2. Then finally line D is 2x minus 4 equals 4. Then let's leave minus y, then move 2x to the other side. That gives minus 2x plus 4. Then I don't want to have a minus in front of y. So let's times minus 1. That gives you plus 1, plus 1. So y equal 2x minus 4. Then finally, we found all the 4 equations with the standard form. Then we need to identify 2 parallel lines. That means find the 2 equations that has got a same gradient. So let's see line A. Let's highlight the gradient. Line A, the gradient is 2. Then now minus half, minus 1. So you see line D and A, they've got a gradient as a 2. That means these are the parallel lines. So our two line is a line A and D. Now here we need to find the equation of the straight line. So we don't have a line. We only have 2 points. So what we need to do is we need to draw the line and we also need to find the equation of it. Let's see. So first of all, we need to plot these points on the coordinate plane. So first of all, 3,5, then 9,2. Then since you have 2 points, then connect them together, then that gives you a line graph. So we're done. But this is not the end because we need to find the equation of this graph. That is, already write down the standard form, y equals mx plus c. So using these 2 points, we need to figure out the gradient. How the first point moved to the second point. Let's see. First of all, how many down? Let's check it. Move 1, 2, 3 down. That's minus, right? Then now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right. So now we notice that this is negative gradient. If you simplify it, it's negative minus half. That's our gradient. Then since we know the gradient, then y equals minus half x plus c. Then all we can do is choose one of the points and then put it in the equation. Then we can figure out our c. So I'm going to choose 3,5 because it's a smaller number. So 3,5 means when x is 3, y is 5. So let's substitute these numbers into the equation. So y is 5. Then minus half times 3 is 3 minus 3 half. Then c. So now let's move this to the other side. So y plus 3 half. That's our c. Right? Then let's change this into the mixed number. Then 5 plus 1 and half. It gives you 6 and half, right? So you add them together, it gives you 6 and half. Then that's your y-intercept. then our standard form of the equation is using the gradient and then y-intercept, we can form y equals minus half x plus 6 and half. This is our equation. Now, so A and B are straight lines, and the line A has got an equation, and line B has got only 2 points. So now we need to figure out whether two lines intersect. That means they meet. So for finding this one, we need to work out our equation first. Line A equation is 2y equal 3x plus 8. Then change this equation into the standard form. Divide by 2. Y equal 3 half plus 4. Then we have an equation of A. Then let's draw it from the y-intercept. Then that means 2 space to the right, 3 up, right? 2 right, 3 up. That is a new point. You connect them together. Then this is our line for A. Then what we're going to do here is we need to show that the line A and B, they are meet. Then another thing is line B is we don't have an equation, but line B is we have got 2 points. So here, if I give you a quick tip, then you don't need to draw the graph. Because since we know that when the graph has the same gradient, they never meet. That means when the gradient is different, they anyway meet at some point, right? So all we need to do is we need to show them they've got a different gradient, then they will meet at any end, right? Changes in x and changes in y. So first of all, 2 to 8, you move 6 up, divided by minus 1 to 2, then you move 3 right. So then your gradient is 6 divided by 3, that is the 2. So two graphs, they have a different gradient, that means they meet at some point. So okay, well done. This is the end of the all graph lesson. So now try to answer my question. What is the standard form of the linear graph? Then what is a gradient? Definition of a gradient, and then formula for the gradient, and then the gradient and parallel lines, how they are linking together. Then what is y-intercept? Then when you have a y-intercept and then gradient, how can you draw the line graph? If you can answer all my questions clearly, then the linear line graph, no problem. So well done. Thank you for your focus. And then I will see you with the different topics at next lesson. Bye.